You know, Tony Khan really loves making these announcements and teasing things. And there was something that he said today on Mom's Basement with Robbie Fox that got me thinking, and it actually might be a good idea. So we are going to talk a little bit more in depth about that in just a moment. Also, a WWE Hall of Famer has quite a bit to say about a wrestler in AEW being underutilized and says that this wrestler should go to WWE. And quite honestly, I don't know if I agree with that, but we're going to discuss that as well. MLW has announced a huge return. We're also going to talk about that. If you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe for more. But of course, don't forget, there's a lot of ways to support the channel. You guys can check out the links in the description down below. We also have a newsletter where I'm going to be providing you guys daily updates as well. So with that being said, I think it's just best that we jump into it. The Sandman is coming back to MLW. And this will be taking place on May 13th, my birthday, at Philadelphia, the King of Coliseum event. And it's actually really interesting. You know, I talk a little bit about MLW here and there when things pop up. And MLW just kind of exists. With wrestling companies, we see that they really gain a lot of momentum or they go downhill. MLW just kind of floats around. So yes, it is cool that the Sandman is coming back to MLW. And, you know, for this event, I'm sure it's going to get a really nice pop. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy it. And I have nothing against that. But my concern as a wrestling fan is like anticipating what is next for MLW. Just like Impact, right? I feel like they're just, they bring out good television. They do good stuff, but they're just kind of there. We don't see them making massive changes to their overall product. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe that's something that you guys could determine in the comment section. I will be reading the comments on this. But I think there's a difference, right? Like, they're not a bad product. They're not a bad company, but they're just kind of there. Like the Sandman coming back, yeah, again, it's going to get a good reaction, you know. But I feel like MLW hasn't really made announcements or decisions that I feel like are going to explode their business forward, right? Like, it's not just going to put a rocket onto them and push them straight forward. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what companies like MLW and Impact really need to do. Like, they need to do something that just really carries the momentum to the next level, and they're not doing that. And I don't know if that's a financial thing or a viewership thing. I'm not really sure where that comes from. I want to be supportive of MLW and what they do. I'm sure this event is going to be great. Again, MLW has good content. I just feel like they exist, and that's it. And again, I don't even know if that's a bad thing, but it's a thing that I've noticed. It's like Impact. You know, there's like, they have their audience and that's it. And I don't know. I feel like that's just a weird thing happening in wrestling today. Guys, I want to switch over to Christian Cage. You know, if you've been watching this channel, me seeing Christian come back to television was great because I was a huge fan of Christian growing up. But then when I saw that he came to AEW, I was concerned. And obviously that had a lot to do with the reaction that Christian got from the hardcore AEW audience. Now, as time has gone by, I am not one of those people that believe Christian has been underutilized. However, I don't think he has been utilized overly well. I don't know if that makes sense, but Bubba Ray Dudley was on Busted Open. Obviously, you guys know he's on Busted Open Radio. And he was talking about Christian leaving AEW to go to WWE and essentially joining Damian Priest and Edge and their new faction. And one of the things that he says is that Christian is massively underutilized, just my opinion. Now, I'm not here to say that Bubba Ray's opinion is good or bad. You guys could determine that on your own. But what I am saying is that this is a very interesting opinion because AEW hasn't done anything significantly with Christian to make him stand out on his own. Now, I have always believed that a veteran like Christian should be used in a situation where he can help develop talent and help put over certain people, which technically he's kind of doing that, right, with Jurassic Express. We also saw him carry the Impact Championship, which I thought that was probably the most significant part of his AEW run, which again, I have no complaints. That was actually very cool. Now there's some sort of tease that maybe Christian could be going on his own, turning heel. It seems like a slow motion type of thing. We don't really have a lot of clarity on it. But is Christian being underutilized, and should Christian go to Edge and Damian Priest and their faction? Now, that's what Bubba Ray thinks. This is what Ango thinks. While I don't think AEW has necessarily hit a home run with Christian, I trust AEW a little bit more with Christian than I would with WWE. Now, I could criticize either company till I'm blue in the face. I can praise both companies until I'm blue in the face. But the one thing I stand very, very firm on is that AEW tends to do a really good job of how they utilize the older veteran talent. Something I don't think WWE does a good job with. And I think WWE has hurt more wrestlers by putting over these older veterans when they should have done the opposite. Now, I don't know what AEW's plan is with Christian. And again, I'm not saying they've knocked it out of the park, but what I am saying is that I feel like AEW can, at any moment in time, they can do something with Christian that is going to give him a lot of significance on their TV show. Whereas I think if he goes to Edge's faction, he's just another member in a faction. He's not even going to be the leader of the faction. I don't feel like it stands out. I don't feel like there's any benefits to it. And, I think right now the Edge faction that they have going on should be having guys like Damian Priest or Ciampa, guys that really need to get over with the main roster, right? Not somebody who has been over for several years and then returns to the company. Now, I don't know what the contract status is for Christian, but I'm just saying for Bubba to say this, I mean, I can understand maybe that's the way he feels, which is fine. Maybe he is right in the sense that, he's not doing much with AEW, but I still think AEW has a better track record. And I want to know from you guys, what do you guys think? Guys, Tony Khan was on Robbie Fox's Mom's Basement podcast with Barstool Sports. And there was something that I thought was really cool about this. And I'm just going to be honest. I've been very adamant about the announcements being annoying and stuff. Now, we don't know if this is going to tie into the major announcement on Dynamite 420. But what we do know is that Tony Khan has some major plans for ROH and AEW. Now, specifically, one of the things that came out of this podcast is that Tony Khan doesn't rule out a co-promoted event involving both. Now, he was asked about a match between CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, and he says he would love to see them lock up at some point. In Ring of Honor, I think we'll have to wait and see. There may be a time where it would make sense for them to come. We have a lot of great stars in Ring of Honor and AEW, so I couldn't promise that. There may come a day where it would make sense for all the stars of AEW and all the stars of Ring of Honor to come together and have one big event. Now, I am all about this. I believe that they should have a big event. The only issue with this specifically is that ROH doesn't necessarily have a roster just yet, but as we learn more about ROH plans, I think it would be really cool, at least once a year, for AEW and ROH to have a super show. WWE has Survivor Series, and I feel like Survivor Series lost its touch, but the idea of Raw versus SmackDown is great. Adding NXT into the mix years ago was really cool. I think if AEW could kind of mimic that between AEW and ROH, I think that could be really cool. But in order for that to happen, they have to really have a separate brand with a separate roster. I think that's the only way a super show works. Otherwise, it would just be an AEW pay-per-view that is co-branded, and that wouldn't make sense. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know, and I'll hear from you soon.